Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time joining me, I'm tamaracanham, and as usual, thank you for clicking on that video. I know it's a bit dark in here, you guys. I am recording on my phone today, so it's really dark. It's kind of a struggle with lighting and phone, especially when there's no lighting in the room, but we kind of dark. I did try to put up a light just to make it a bit brighter, but it is quite dark. But we will continue with our usual recording in our next video. Okay, so I just want to welcome all my new subscribers as well. We gained like 50 subscribers in the month of January. What, you guys, like, that is just so amazing. Okay, that is just amazing. And just to get it out there, you guys, I'm not an entertainment channel. I know my previous video did confuse some people. I don't do entertainment. That was just a challenge, and we're all about makeup, lifestyle, and also mukbangs that we're going to be doing on our channel. Okay, so as you guys can see from the title, we are doing ways on how you can prevent flashback in your photographs. Now, what is flashback? Flashback is what you would see when you take a photograph using flash photography. Now, you would notice in certain areas your face looks lighter, it looks gray. In certain areas of your face, it could be the center. Most of the areas where you tend to highlight and bake the most, but we'll get into that a little later on in the video. Now, the most common known factor for flashback is obviously SPF 15 in your products. Now, if you're going to be using products with SPF in it, let me not just say SPF 15 because there's different levels of SPF. SPF does cause flashback. So if you want to prevent flashback, you have to use products that don't have SPF. Now, obviously for me, my skin is more important, so I'm always going to use SPF. So I just kind of feel like if you have an event or you want to take a photograph in certain times, then just make sure you're not using SPF. However, it is important to use SPF on your face on a daily basis. But if you want to do photography and you know you're going to be using flash photography, make sure you use products without SPF. All right, now a lot of the times we want to blame our products for the flashback. We want to blame the camera for the flashback. It is not the camera. It is not sometimes, a lot of the times, it's not even the product we put on our faces unless they have SPF, of course. But a lot of the time, it's actually us, you guys. It's actually the makeup that we put on our face that causes SPF. Now, the first thing you want to do to eliminate flashback in your makeup routine is you want to choose the foundation with the right undertone, the right shade of foundation for your skin. Now, I know a lot of girls tend to use foundations that are lighter than them. Lighter than they are, whether it be for their foundations or their concealers. A lot of the time they are darker than them, and a lot of the times we walk around with floating heads because our faces are lighter than our bodies. I know a lot of girls are like that. Now, with me personally, when it comes to my foundation routine, I also struggle finding the right shades and the right undertones because I have a very in-between shade, and a lot of the times I have to mix foundations to get my perfect shade. Now, me personally, I would rather wear a foundation that is darker than to wear a foundation that is much lighter, because remember, you're still going to go in with concealer, you're still going to go in with powder, you're still going to bake your face, and by the time you completed your makeup, you're going to end up looking lighter. Now, let me just explain how flash photography works. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a photograph of someone, or if you use your flash photography, and sometimes depending on your clothes or what clothes you're wearing, if you use your flash, that you can actually see underneath your clothing, depending on what type of material you're using. When you use your flash to take your pictures, you just kind of see what's underneath, like your underwear, or if you're wearing a top underneath or a vest, you would kind of see that underneath your clothing. Now, that is the same thing that flash photography does. It kind of reveals all the different layers under your makeup or over your powder or whatever it is that you put on your face. It just kind of reveals all the layers that are on top of your skin, and which you might not be able to see in natural lighting, but flash photography is just going to bring all those layers out, if that makes any sense to you. Now, the reason why having a perfect foundation shade, the perfect foundation shade is so important, because you remember that everything you're gonna put everything on top of your face. You're gonna blend everything on top of your face, and your foundation is the foundation, the first layer that all your makeup is gonna sit on top, that all your makeup is gonna blend into. So it's very important to make sure you're wearing the right shade of foundation. Now, obviously, the second thing is concealer, you guys. I know with concealing, we have personally, because we watch so many YouTube videos, we see whatever's trending, and we tend to use the wrong shade of highlighters. Now, when it comes to highlighters, you guys have to make sure that you're also using the right highlighter for your skin or for whatever foundation that you use. It needs to kind of match. Like for me personally, because I have a yellow undertone, when I'm choosing my concealer or my highlighter shade, I still want to find a concealer that has a yellow undertone. So mostly I would always go one or two shades lighter to choose my concealer. And that way I still get a yellow undertone no matter what concealer I choose. Obviously it depends on what brand you use, because different brands, their ranges are different and their shades are different. So I always go one or two shades lighter. Now for me, as you guys would see, I normally use this undertone. This is actually the yellow corrector that I use. Now it looks light when you apply it on your skin, but when you blend it in, because it's very yellow, it's not going to give you like a wide cast when you blend it into your foundation. I also use ones that are, like most of the time, a lot of the concealers that I own, I wish I had taken the other concealer out of my box, but I'm recording and my phone is sitting on this box. A lot of my concealers are actually almost my skin tone, and I could actually get away as using them as foundations, but that is just the way I preferred it. Like this this is actually a yellow corrector which I use to correct my foundations, to lighten my foundations. But when I'm just going, like for instance, the foundation I had on today is actually really, really dark for me. It's like 2 shades darker than my actual shade of foundation that I wear, but I don't mind because I go in with this yellow corrector from LA Girl Cosmetics, and not only does this correct the foundation, if that makes any sense, but it also highlights the areas that I wanted to highlight. And also, you guys, if you're wearing a full coverage foundation, it is really not necessary for you guys to conceal, because with full coverage foundations, they're covering up your marks, they're going to give you a nice even tone. So there's really no need for you guys to wear a concealer, especially if you're going to be wearing a foundation that is high coverage. Okay, now the next thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is also another thing that really causes flashback. It's powder. Now it is powder. A lot of the times this is where we get it wrong. Now what I tend to do, you guys, I know it's hot and we all tend to love to bake, especially in the summertime. Like I know in summertime I have to bake, especially if I'm going to be out long and I need my makeup to last, and it's so humid in Durban that I really have to bake. Now this is where we get that cost, because what baking does is that it actually lightens your foundation as well, if that makes any sense. It brightens up the areas which you've already brightened by adding foundation, by adding a concealer, and now you're brightening it up for the third time with a powder. So all those layers kind of add up together when you see that in the flash photography, because you just kind of see this white cast over your face in flash photography. So what I normally tend to do is, if I want to bake my face, or even if I'm setting my face, I tend to normally take my powder puff from my powder, which a lot of them come in with these days. I take my powder puff and I first pat the powder into my skin before I go in and bake. And I don't know the science behind this, but for me it just works to kind of first press the powder into my skin and then go in and guys, I'm recording, and then go in and bake your face, as you can see from this clip. So for me, what this actually does, you guys, is it presses the powder into your skin, because when you take your powder and you put it over your concealer, remember your concealer is wet, and you're putting the powder straight over your concealer. Your concealer is wet. It's kind of like it's kind of heavy. So it's kind of like sinking all into your skin without you having to have blended and smoothed it out. Whereas, I don't know if I'm making any sense, you guys, but it really does work. Whereas if you first pat the product in to pack the powder first into your skin and set your foundation or your concealer, and then go in and bake. It kind of just sits on top of your set foundation instead of a foundation that wet, and it doesn't brighten as much, and it still leaves you with a nice smoother, better kind of finish when you bake in. Also, depending on what product you use, guys, make sure that you try not to bake for long. So like if I know I have a really strong powder, I tend to just bake for 1 or 2 minutes. I know that sometimes we want to bake until we finish completed all our makeup, but that really causes flashback. Also, another thing that you want to consider is products that have silica in them. A lot of powders will have silica in them. Like this one doesn't have silica, so this one is not going to give you a great outcast. Now, silica is an ingredient that they put into products, especially powders. It's like a mattifying thing that they use. It's an ingredient that like causes mattifying. Now this can also cause a lot of flashback. So I know like with the AVOIDE powder that I was using, that used to give me a lot of flashback, and I know that actually had silica in it, so I actually stopped using that powder because it was giving me a flashback as well. So just to round up this video, guys, those are the actual main things that cause flashback in your photography. It's your foundation, not bringing the correct foundation shade, not bringing the right concealer shade, using products with SPF, using products with silica in them, and also just putting too much of layers and layers and layers of lightening onto your skin. Because remember, you're putting a product that is too light for you, and you might be blending it out, but the flash is actually going to reveal all those layers underneath your skin. I don't know if that is making any sense. I kind of feel like I've been blabbing and blabbing and blabbing. I'm going to insert a picture as well. Maybe I inserted it in the beginning, I'm not sure when, but I'm going to insert a picture as well that I used with my flash to take a photo, and you guys will see I had no problem. Okay, so you guys, those are the things. Oh, and also your powders, you guys, makes your powders, like if you're using a really white powder, because that's going to brighten up your face even more. So that also causes flashback. I mean, they do have banana powders nowadays. They do have powders that are darker shades as well for darker skin tone sisters. And I know like a lot of dark skin and a lot of pale skin people suffer a lot with foundation, I mean with flashback. So try getting right, like I said, the right shades even in your powders. Don't use powders that are too white. Okay, that is it for this video, you guys. I feel like I've been rambling because I'm just so not used of shooting on a phone, but I'm sure you guys get the drift. I'm sure you guys understand. Thank you for coming this far. Until next time, you guys chose for me to do this video first. I'm doing this video first, and hopefully I will do this tutorial for you guys as well. Until next time, thank you for watching, darlings. I hope that I meet you again in my next video. You can also go out and check out my previous videos from me to you. Bye, darlings, and God bless.